Anthony Richardson will get the start week 1 for the Indianapolis Colts, but is that the right move when everything's going on with Jonathan Taylor and he's getting quote-unquote excused absences? We'll get our thoughts on the Indianapolis Colts situation that Jim Irsay is dealing with there and with the Colts. Chris Carter, your boy Q on the Friday edition, and we do favorite of the field, picking through division favorites in betting. We'll get you our advice there on who to pick right here on the Friday edition of the Locked On NFL podcast. Chris Carter, your boy Q. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On NFL, your daily NFL podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to the Locked On NFL podcast. It's the Friday edition with your guys, Chris Carter and your boy Q, Keon Myers from the Locked On Steelers and the Locked On Raiders podcasts. As always, you can find this show on your favorite podcasting apps and on YouTube. Like this video if you're enjoying the show. Subscribe to this channel to get our Monday through Friday episodes with all the different rotating hosts from across the network to get all of the action here. And today's episode is sponsored by LinkedIn. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Q, the Colts got a lot going on right now.
Yeah,
Anthony Richardson, their first round draft pick quarterback who lit up the combine, and everyone's excited to see he's doing full on front flips on camera. Everyone's seeing his burst of athleticism and everything. But meanwhile, the guy who was supposed to make things easier for him to in that offense, Jonathan Taylor, still isn't practicing. He's now given a quote unquote excused absence over there, but we know that not everything is sunshine and rainbows right now with that relationship because of his payment situation and what he wants from the Colts and what they're not willing to give him. Q, how do you see this situation playing out right now? Are they putting Anthony Richardson in a situation to fail as a rookie with their current lineup?
That's a good question, man. It really is. And I know there's a lot of conversation. Should you start the rookie? Should you not start the rookie? I don't think all rookies are created equal. And with this scenario, man, it's one of those where I want to say that, yeah, it'd probably be better to let him sit for a while and get him, some just experience behind an experienced guy, and then let him out there when you think that he's ready. But the biggest problem with Anthony Richardson is he doesn't have any experience, period. Right. I mean, like that's the biggest question when it comes to Anthony Richardson is he hasn't had enough time on the grass. And I look in San Francisco and see Trey Lance and see a quarterback that hasn't had enough time on task as far as the NFL action goes. And right about now, a lot of people think that guy's a bust and San Francisco's going to have to trade him sooner rather than later. But what can you get for him right now besides a cup of coffee and some Cheez-Its, right? I mean, you can't really get too much more because he hasn't shown anything. Exactly. So I don't really know what the right answer for Anthony Richardson is if it's a smart move just to get him out there on the field because, well, even if he doesn't, play really well, it's fine because the Colts aren't expecting to have a really good season. Or should they make sure that everything around him is where it needs to be before they put him out there? And why I say that is you mentioned it, Jonathan Taylor. Ever since Jim Irsay came out on Twitter and was talking about the CBA and certain positions wanting more money and they negotiated for a long time, and to go back and do that would be criminal. And then Jonathan Taylor's agent was like, wait, hold on, dog. What are you talking about? And all of a sudden, there's been a line drawn in the sand between Irsay and Jonathan Taylor to the point where there's been told that, he has a back injury, then he has an ankle injury, then he's not at camp, then he is at camp, then he's been excused from camp. And I'll tell you right now, man, it's like, what in the hell is going on, right? I mean, it seems like, and look, I'm in Vegas. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm in Vegas. I cover the Raiders. Josh Jacobs, he's not at camp yet. He has a franchise tag. He's holding on to it. He hasn't signed it yet. So he's not there. And as much as that seems like not even a weird scenario, it's just like one of those, okay, wait and see when he shows up. I feel pretty confident he's going to show up sooner rather than later. That situation in Indy, I'm like, I don't know what the hell to think of it. It just seems like it's all over the place. And if you told me, Jonathan Taylor's not going to be ready week 1, I wouldn't say that you're wrong because I, at this point, have no idea. And that, my friend, does not help out Anthony Richardson at all.
It doesn't. And I'll say this too. This is why Jim Irsay, he always be getting into trouble, messing up his own
Always.
situation. He didn't
Yep.
have to say those comments about the CBA and everything. And if he doesn't, maybe Jonathan Taylor's still doing this right now, but you put yourself in the center of the maelstrom. Like
Right.
you created the headline and the problems and the duel that you're going through with your star running back, arguably your best player right now on the team, maybe Quentin
Not even
Nelson. But
arguably. He's the best player.
I mean, but this is why do this to yourself, man?
Right.
You
Right.
forced Peyton Manning out. Look what that did. Look at that did to your franchise.
There's two guys. There's two owners that love the spotlight. Two.
Oh,
One, Jerry. I'm not
I
even
was
going
gonna
to go there.
say, is he gonna make a quick appearance?
Right. No, he's not even going to make an appearance today because this is not about him this time. But Jerry's one and Jim Irsay. They love the spotlight. The rest of the owners, for the most part, love to just kind of fall back and be in the background and do what great owners do, right? Not really be seen or even heard from. Just kind of sit back, do what they do, let the football operations people handle their business. But Irsay has got to get in the mix, man. He's always got to be involved in something. And that, I think, is a detriment to his team.
Hey, Q, lay off my boy Jim. He's just trying to build a winner.
I was not even going there. I wasn't even gonna bring Jerry into the mix. I was gonna let Jerry just kick it in Arlington. I was just gonna let him hang out, man. And you trying to bring him in. You trying to ruffle up the spirits of Jerry, man.
But in all seriousness,
you have Cowboy fans mad at me, man. They're gonna come after me, be angry at me.
Hey, yeah. Go after Q. Don't go after Chris. But in all seriousness, I do look at the Colts situation and just think man, listen, they were down bad. That's why they were able to draft Anthony Richardson. It's been rough there, but Colts fans gotta be just dang it, can we not punch ourselves in the face before we go into a season that's probably going to punch us in the face? And
right.
I think Anthony Richardson, like you're saying, look at Trey Lance, look at any quarterback that comes out the gate and stumbles for just a little bit. Bust is immediately thrown onto their profile. Everyone's wondering why they should be picked, and then you got to test that player's fortitude. You got to test, test their strength of character and ability to block that stuff out, because now they're worried about, is my job on the line? Is my future on the line right now? And what you want to do is you want to make sure that there aren't any bumps on the road before they take off, for their career. And you're putting your own bumps in the road for Anthony Richardson. And I just think, he may be ready to start. He may be about to be the greatest quarterback of all time. Who knows? But your job as an organization is to make that path as easy as possible for him to find his feet, understand how he can be successful in the NFL, and then build around him after that. And before you can even get the first part done, you have made things a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, you broke the toy before it even got out of the package. Right. I mean, it's like a kid opening up a Christmas gift and they recklessly open it up so violently that they break it before they even get a chance to mess with it. Right. I mean, that's just what it feels like. Anthony Richardson is the big toy that the Colts got in the draft, and he could end up being fantastic. He's got all the athletic traits. He just lacks experience. He doesn't have very many starts from college. His accuracy wasn't great. I'm not a big believer that you could really teach accuracy, but hey, I've been wrong before, so we'll see what he does. But I'm telling you, man, the easiest thing for Anthony Richardson to do to make him feel most comfortable as a starter in the NFL is to be able to snap the ball and hand the ball off to that dude that goes and gets it done named Jonathan Taylor. And then all of a sudden be able to, have a 1-2 punch where maybe he could use his athleticism and Taylor could use his, and they can, just kind of have a lot of the zone read stuff and do stuff that makes Anthony Richardson comfortable and get him more adapt to being an NFL quarterback. But without Taylor, all of a sudden, it's the Anthony Richardson show and everybody else, and you just hope that he's able to handle it.
I hear you on that. We're going to talk about more stuff around the NFL just shortly. I know it's the Locked On NFL podcast, not the Locked On Colts podcast, but we have a lot to discuss there. We're going to go over betting odds. If you're trying to bet division winners, we're going to go over who's favored on FanDuel and then whether or not we take the favorite or the field? That coming up next here on the Locked On NFL podcast. Chris Carter, your boy Q, breaking things down. Before we do that, though, we got to remind you this show is sponsored by LinkedIn. These days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You need the right people on your team to help your small business fire on all cylinders. That's where LinkedIn Jobs comes in to make it easier for you to find people that you want to talk to faster and for free. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. Then add your job in the purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile to spread the word that you're hiring so your network can help you find the right people to hire. Simple tools like screening questions make it easy to focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience so you can quickly prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonnfl. That's linkedin.com/lockedonnfl to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Back here on the Locked On NFL podcast, Chris Carter, your boy Q, on a Friday edition. Let's dive into some betting numbers here, Q, because we like to talk about it. We're going to bring our FanDuel sponsor in here, just to remind you that this show, that our network is sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook, the #1 sportsbook in America. And if you went to the sportsbook right now, you'd see all the teams that are favored to win their divisions as it stands. We're going to go through each division, give our thoughts on if the favorite is going to win it or if the field is going to win it. That could be a very interesting thing to see how that plays out, and a different way of talking about what we expect to see in each division. Yeah. Q, let's start in the NFC.
All right, NFC. Let's do it.
Let's start with one that you and I talk about a lot, and it's the NFC East. When was the last time someone repeated as division champions in the NFC East?
2003, 2004.
It's been that long.
Yes.
I was in middle school, man. Like that's how long ago it was that that happened. But the Eagles are a really strong team with a lot of really good parts back, and they are the favorite right now. They're minus 115 to bet on the Eagles right now. But the next closest is the Cowboys at plus 175, the Giants at plus 700, and the Commanders at plus 1,300 there. Q, do you go favored or the field for the Eagles being the favorite to win the NFC East for a second year in a row?
I got to go field. I mean, you said it in the first sentence, right? I mean, when's the last time a team won the division back-to-back years, right? It's been since 2003, 2004. It is 2023 right now. So I'd be a fool to bet the favorite. Now, I don't think that the Philadelphia Eagles are a bad team. I think that they're really good. They lost a couple of coordinators, both offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator. Coach Steichen is in Indianapolis with the Colts, as we talked about them in segment #1. And then Coach Gannon is in Arizona with the Cardinals. So they're gone. They lost defensive players. They're gone. I mean, there's, still very talented, but just because it's been so long since the same team has won that division back-to-back years, and because they lost all the players and coaches that I mentioned, I got to go with the field, and I'm going to go with the Cowboys to win it. And what are they plus? What'd you say they were? Plus 300?
Plus 175.
Okay, my bad. Plus 175. I'm rolling with the Cowboys to win the NFC East in 2023.
I hear you on that. It's tough to bet against something that has happened so often, and it's a streak that I'm not sure. Not sure that it ends this year, though. I will say the Eagles have been impressive and they have made interesting moves, and they've been drafting well the last few years. I've liked a lot of their recent classes, but I'm with you. I'm going with the field here, and I think that it's the Cowboys who pull that off there in the NFC East. Let's move along here to the NFC North.
Got to write this stuff down so I don't forget. Okay, go ahead.
There we go. NFC North division winner was the Minnesota Vikings last year. The favorite, though, is the Detroit Lions at plus 145, the Vikings at plus 260, the Packers plus 350, the Bears plus 430. Q, favorite of the field, Lions favored to win the North.
The Lions are favored. Who's next?
The Lions, then it's the Vikings at plus 260, the Packers at plus 350, the Bears at plus 430.
Oh man, I don't believe in the Lions. First of all, I don't. I've been saying that for a long time. So they're out. So obviously, I'm picking the field.
Mm.
Minnesota, I struggle to believe in as well, just because they won so many close games a year ago, and I don't think that they were as good as their record says they were, but they were what their record says they were. So fine. But you saw how quickly they dipped out in the playoffs. Brian Flores is there as the new defensive coordinator, so maybe their defense will be a little bit better. The Packers are. I don't know what Jordan Love's going to be, and the Bears, I don't know what Justin Fields is going to be. I mean, this division is a whole bunch of yuck, right?
It is.
As far as I'm concerned, it's a bunch of yuck. But if I got to pick somebody, oh man, I'm just gonna. You know what? I'm just gonna go. Who's our guy in Minnesota? Luke Braun. Braun, yeah. Sorry, Luke. My bad. I'm gonna roll with Luke Braun and the Minnesota Vikings. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that they're gonna get it done. They're gonna find a way. Brian Flores is gonna have enough defense to help them win that division. They're at plus 350. That's who I'm gonna roll with.
I hear you on that. I'm gonna go with the favorite here. I'm gonna say that the NFC North is just gonna be a bad division, and the Lions. Yes, I am. That's how the picking the Lions to win the NFC North. I am crazy,
right?
But
I picked the Vikings, so there you go. Not that
yeah, we're both on that yak tonight. But let's move forward here. We got the NFC South here, another rough division here as far as talent. The Saints though are favored with plus 130 at their odds. The Falcons at plus 210, the Panthers at plus 360, the Buccaneers at plus 750. I'm going with the favorite here because I just don't believe in anybody, and the Saints have Derek Carr at least, so they could at least maybe depend on him to pull them through enough games to win the division, win what's going to be a terrible division. But I think this is going to be a lot of ugly football here.
Shout out to Ross Jackson there. So you got the favorites right there. You got the Saints to win the NFC South, and look, barely over 500, like a 9-8 record might win that division, right? I mean, it's one of those things. I don't think it's going to be a great one right now. The Saints are the best team in that division as far as I'm concerned, and Derek Carr is the best quarterback. But I'm going to go with the field. I'm going to rock with the Carolina Panthers. I like Bryce Young. He's got to stay healthy. That's going to be the question. So far, his offensive line hasn't looked great, so they got to shore that up. But I'm going with Carolina based off of the coaches that they have. There's a lot of NFL experienced coaches on that staff, and I think they're going to help coach up Bryce Young, and their defense is not bad. That's the one thing Matt Rule did well there in Carolina is put together some defensive players. So I'm going to roll with Bryce Young. I like him a lot. I'm going to roll with Carolina, and they're at what, plus 360? Is that 360 or 350?
Let me pull it up again. The Panthers are plus 360.
Boom, there it is. Plus 360, Carolina Panthers, NFC South champs.
All right, last division, the NFC here before we take a break and then switch to the AFC. NFC West winner. Now, obviously, the Niners are favored here.
Yep.
They went to the AFC Championship game. They're a minus 165.
Okay.
The Seahawks plus 200. The Rams plus 1,000. The Cardinals plus 2,700. Who you got the favorite of the field?
I'm going with the field. I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks.
Dang, I don't know boat there.
I don't know what's going on with the quarterback position in San Francisco. Brock Purdy, I saw him up close to personal when the Raiders had the joint practices with him, and I saw the preseason game. Now, he didn't play in that, but he didn't look great in the joint practices, threw a bunch of interceptions. I don't know if he's going to be 100% healthy, and Seattle feels like they got something with Geno Smith. Even though I'm not a huge Geno guy, they were obviously comfortable enough to let Russell Wilson go. They got to the playoffs with Geno Smith a year ago. They went and drafted Devin Witherspoon in the first round, the cornerback, to pair him up with Tariq Woolen. So I like what they got going on in Seattle. So I'm going to rock with them at plus 200.
I'm right with you, and I also think it is the Seahawks who do it there, because when I look at how the Niners are constructed, sure, they have a defense that could give you problems, but man, I wonder if this is a comeuppance year for Purdy when he is back out. Like, even if he gets back healthy and everything's fine and he's at 110%,
right?
I think it's going to be a rough year I think teams are going to adjust, and you're going to see a learning curve there, and the Niners are going to flop while the Seahawks are doing a good enough job to win the division. That's why I'm going with the field there.
Okay. I like it. I'm really excited by the AFC. That's how I'm rolling. I'm excited by the AFC because I feel like it's a lot more intriguing than the NFC. Just saying.
Well, that's because it is. There's a lot of really tough matchups here in the divisions in the AFC. We'll talk about the AFC potential favored winners there on the Locked On NFL podcast. Chris Carter, your boy Q on the Friday edition. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Back here on the Locked On NFL podcast, Chris Carter, your boy Q. Now, Q, let's go over some of these projections for the AFC.
Okay.
In the AFC East,
okay,
the favorites are the Buffalo Bills plus 120, the Jets plus 250, the Dolphins plus 290, the Patriots plus 800.
Ooh.
You going favorite of the field?
I'm going the field. I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins.
Not even the Jets.
No. The Jets have offensive line problems, and until they get that shored up, I don't care if they have Breece Hall, I don't care if they have Aaron Rodgers, I don't care if they have this, that, and the other, right? Until that offensive line gets shored up, man, they're going to have some struggles, and I think it's going to take a little while, especially out the gates, to get that offense clicking. So I'm not with the Jets just yet. I think they're going to be good, but I don't think they're going to be that good. I like Miami. I like the weapons that they have. I think the defense is better than it was a year ago. I think Tyreek Hill is going to be better this year. I think Tua, as long as he's healthy, is going to be better this year. Coach McDaniel, I think, is going to be better in year 2. So I'm going to roll with the Miami Dolphins at plus 290 to win the AFC East. So I'm rolling with the field.
I'm going to stick with the favorite. I know the Bills are on their last legs as far as like how long this window will be open with the first era of Josh Allen, with the crew they've assembled around him and the core players they might lose. But I think they're going to strike while the iron's hot, at least to win the division and get back to the playoffs. But I do think that 2 of these teams give them a good run for their money in the Jets and the Dolphins. So entertaining stuff there for sure. Let's go to the AFC North. The Bengals at plus 150 are favored to win the division, but they are closely followed. I think this is the closest as far as all the divisions when it comes to the distance between the top team and the bottom team and the teams in between as far as gambling odds. Again, the Bengals at plus 150, the Ravens at plus 210, the Browns at plus 400, the Steelers at plus 470 here on this book. Q,
yep,
you going favorite of the field?
I'm going with the field. I feel like I've gone with the field a lot today.
You have. You don't believe in anybody.
I really guess not, right? That'll change. Trust me, that'll change. I know exactly what division I'm picking. That'll change, ladies and gentlemen. That'll change. But we're not there yet. So I'm going to go with the field, and I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. I've said it many times. I think that Baltimore, with this new offense led by Todd Monken, Lamar Jackson being happy, he got the bag now, being able to use his arm, showcase his arm a little bit more. They have weapons like Zay Flowers, who they drafted, Odell Beckham Jr., who they signed. Bateman's coming back from injury. Mark Andrews is still Mark Andrews. Running backs are getting healthy, right? J.K. Dobbins, I think, is going to have a moment where he can break out at any time. So excited by him. And Baltimore always has a defense, right? It might not be top notch, but they're going to have a defense that's going to be at least worth the salt. So I'm going to roll with Baltimore at plus 210 to win the AFC North. That's spelled N-A-W-T-H. North.
Yeah. I'm going to agree the field.
Off, N-A-W-F.
It is true. That's another way to say it.
That's another way. Just saying. I'm giving you options here, Chris Carter.
I'm going to agree with you. The field's going to win. And I'm also going to agree with you. I think it's the Ravens that knocked the Bengals off the top of the division here at plus 210. Wouldn't sleep on the Steelers, but I think they still have another year before they get back to being a team that consistently contends in that way. But I do think if the Ravens win the division, I think the Steelers will be battling for one of those wild card spots. And if the Bengals are caught slipping this year, they could pounce on those opportunities.
I think I heard Jeff Lloyd from Locked On Browns say that he thought that the Steelers were going to win the division. Isn't that what I heard him say?
That's totally what Jeff. For those who do not know, Jeff.
That's such an inside joke. He don't pick the Steelers for anything. I just threw that out.
He literally is never. We have done 5 division previews. He has picked the Steelers to finish last every single year.
Well, look, FanDuel has them at the worst odds. Plus 470 to win. So maybe
take that money to the bank, Q. Take the money to the bank. Like just bet $1,000. You're getting $4,700 in January because it's just.
Let me hold a G. I'll go do it right now. Give me a G. I'll go do it right now.
I'm telling you,
you got all the money, man. You got that light skin money.
I got that light. First of all, Mr. ESPN over here. Congratulations to Q though. He got this new gig at ESPN where he's gonna be on from 10 to 1 p.m. Eastern time all the time, or 10 to 1 a.m. excuse me, Eastern time. But so don't come at me calling me money bags over there, Q.
I didn't call you money. I said you got light skin money. Go on, let me hold something.
You silly with that. But no, my point is that the Steelers ain't finished last in the division since 1988. So that is just not happening. But that's also why I'm still not sold on the Steelers as much as I cover them. And I do think the Steelers will surprise people and be a playoff team. I just don't know if they're going to be able to win the division there this year because
I do think that's the most intriguing division in football, though. Honestly, like last year, we thought the AFC West was going to be the best one. It clearly wasn't. But I do think the AFC North has an opportunity. I'm excited by all the teams, to be honest. I think Pittsburgh takes a step forward. Kenny Pickett gets better. I like the Browns with Deshaun Watson. I think he's better than he was last year without all the off-the-field issues going on. Of course, Baltimore, as I mentioned, I picked them to win, and Cincinnati. So top to bottom, I think this is a hell of a division. Now that I say that, somebody's probably going to stink. So we'll see. But whatever, that's how I feel right now on August 18th. So there's that. Take that to the bank.
AFC South, the Jaguars are the favorites by a considerable amount. They're minus 155 is the Jaguars to win, plus 310 for the Titans are next, plus 550 for the Colts, plus 1,000 for the Texans there. Favorite of the field here, Q.
Whew.
Tough, right?
This is tough. I mean, my brain says Jacksonville's going to do it. But then again, I'm saying out loud Jacksonville's going to do it. And it's one of those situations where I'm like, do I really believe that? Do I really
came out of my mouth?
they have weapons, though, right? I mean, and Calvin Ridley coming back to the mix, I think that's going to be good. I mean, they didn't have him last year, and they still found a way to get into the playoffs and even win a playoff game coming back from 27 down against the Chargers. And then they played another week, but nobody remembers that. At least I don't remember that. I just remember them beating the Chargers because that was the big shock of that weekend, right? So, man, the Houston, no way, plus 1,000. Tennessee, plus 310. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a cop-out. I'm going to go with Tennessee and say that it's a value pick. That's what I'm going to do. Shout out to Tyler. I'm going to say it's a value pick.
Okay, you know what? I will let you slide on that because you're giving a shout out to Tyler because you have hated on our man Tyler from Locked On.
No, I haven't hated on us. No, you throw that out there. No,
you hated on him so much. I've had to defend him on this show all the time.
Chris Carter has created beef between me and Tyler Rowland, who's the host of Locked On.
He watched the show and said you dissed him, bro.
You are like Don King. You have created beef between
America
us for no reason. Like Tyler's always been my homeboy. Anytime you're out adventuring or across America, like you always do, Tyler's been willing to step in and fill in for you. And all of a sudden, somehow you planted a seed that I have beef with Tyler. So now Tyler's like, he ain't my boy, Q. He ain't my boy, this and that. Like, all I said about Tyler was he gets excited and animated. And clearly I do too, so I don't have a problem with that. But Chris Carter went all the way light-skinned on us and planted a seed and decided to he tried to destroy the neighborhood, right? So there it goes. So, yeah, Tennessee. You know what? Forget that. Bump that. Hey, Amp Wig, I'm on your team now. I'm going to Jacksonville. Fine.
You do hate Tyler. That's what it was. You couldn't wait to diss it.
No, because you made me feel bad. So I'm like, I'm just gonna rock. I'm just gonna keep it going now.
How did it make you feel? I was giving you praise for helping out Tyler. And as soon as I give you praise, you run away from it.
Because it made me feel like I was giving like a charity bump, right? Like I was saying, all right, you know what I mean? Like I felt like
he does you, Ty. You see how he does you? Not my boy Q. Hashtag not my boy Q.
You made me talk so bad, and you made it so bad that it almost felt like I was like throwing up the white flag, like, Ty, look, here's a peace offering. Here, I'll give you the division. And I don't want to sound like that guy either, so I got to go against it. Sorry, Ty.
Wow.
It's all Chris Carter's fault.
Sounds like a lot of excuses to just diss our boy Ty. It's not my fault.
It's your fault. That's the lawyer in you. You can find a way to, you can tear up a courtroom. What's the next division? What do you pick?
I was just letting you hang yourself there for a little bit. Our final division.
I gotta be. Never mind. I'm just gonna leave it alone.
Okay, the AFC West.
What's What's Kansas City's? What's their? What's the
you're not even waiting. You're just they're the favorite. Who cares?
Line, man. Just give me the FanDuel line.
Minus 180 for the Chiefs, plus 300.
That's where I'm going. I don't need any more. The Chiefs. I have the Chiefs winning the AFC.
I do my job?
No,
Read the numbers.
Because I think this is the easiest one. I think it's the easiest one. Kansas City is just that good. I'm sorry. Like, as much as I want the Raiders to win it, or I'd like to see someone else win that division, Kansas City, until proven otherwise, unlike the NFC East, where the same team doesn't win back-to-back ever, unfortunately for the AFC West, the same team wins back-to-back all the time, and it's Kansas City. So I don't know why I would even go through the other lines. I know this isn't great value at minus 180, but it's also not stupid money. I'm also not just going to throw money at the wall and hope that I've found success. So I'm just going to go ahead with minus 180, roll with the Chiefs, and say, well, I got one winner for the day, because I just think it's that easy. I don't think that this division is really close. Not saying that other teams aren't going to be good in the division. I just think Kansas City is that much better. So there's that.
Yeah.
Were you going to go with somebody else?
No.
Okay.
I was just going to read the numbers. That's all I was saying.
Go and give them the numbers, man. Go do something good for your country. Give them the numbers.
Do something good for my country, he says. Well, it's minus 180 for the Chiefs, plus 300 for the Chargers, plus 600 for the Broncos, plus 1,700 for the Raiders. That is an insanely high amount there. The only team higher as far as how much money you can make if they hit miraculously are the Arizona Cardinals, who are at plus 2,700 over in the NFC West. So Q,
let me hold a hundo and I'll go throw it on the Raiders and we'll see what happens.
Okay, listen, you got all that ESPN money over there, sir.
I ain't even started my job, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
You know how ESPN, they pay in advance, baby. They pull up with a Brinks truck right to your house.
This ain't the NFL. I didn't just sign no NFL contract where they give you a signing bonus. I don't know what you're talking about.
Listen. I have friends who know what it's like to be rich and work for ESPN.
Yeah, we know what they lying to you, buddy. I don't know what you're talking about.
He's your boy Q.
You said what time my show is going to be at 10 p.m. Eastern. So believe me, ain't nobody coming on at 10 p.m. Eastern getting no signing bonus.
He's your boy Q. I'm Chris Carter. This is the Friday edition of the Locked On NFL podcast. Q, let people that can find you, follow you, and get more of your work.
Apparently, they can find me on ESPN, according to Chris Carter. No, but you can find me on Twitter at your boy Q254. It's the Locked On Raiders podcast, Locked On NFL podcast, Locked On Bets podcast. Do a little bit of everything, man. So check me out at your boy Q254. What about you, Chris?
I'm Chris Carter. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Carter Critiques. You can read my work at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. You can also find me on the Locked On Steelers podcast, just like you find Q on the Locked On Raiders podcast, and just like you find the Locked On NFL podcast. All of your favorite podcasting apps that you listen to and on YouTube. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to this channel for all of the daily Monday through Friday episodes of Locked On NFL. And it's the same thing for both Locked On Raiders and Locked On Steelers, whichever you choose there. Thanks again, Q. Hope you have a great weekend. Get some preseason football watching in, y'all. It's going to be fun because next week is the last week of preseason, and then we can start actually talking about who's going to win in week 1. We'll see you then right here on the Locked On NFL podcast.